Okay, with that, let's bring in John Yoo, former Deputy Assistant Attorney General and law professor at UC Berkeley. John, welcome. Always good to have you here. So this judge is arguing that if you want to reverse, if this President Trump wants to do his own executive action that would reverse an executive action by President Biden, she says you can't do it en masse. It's got to be person by person, which obviously would take a really long time with over 500,000 individuals.
I'm afraid the judge here has misread the law. This is not like a normal immigration process where people get a visa or they get some kind of permanent legal status to stay in the country. In those cases, you do get a hearing before you're deported. This is under a different power that presidents have called parole. Parole specifically says in the law that for humanitarian reasons, the president can let some people into the country, but it confers no permanent legal status as an alien. Your status is unchanged, and it even says that the Department of Homeland Security can end it at any time. You have no right to stay in the country, and your status is just the same as it was. So actually, in this case, I would say that the president can terminate all these emissions under the parole program. That's what Congress said. And then if any of them have some kind of right to stay, for example, they got married to an American, or they got a green card while they were here, they would have to go to court and show that they don't have to leave. So I think this judge has gotten it backwards, and I expect that ultimately a higher court will reverse her.
Yeah, that's what I was just going to ask you, if you believe the higher court might reverse. There's also indications that a lot of these people put false information on their applications for this program to begin with. Would that also automatically put them in a pile that means that they were not eligible for this parole because they misrepresented themselves?
Of course, if you lie on your papers when you come in the first place, then you don't have a right to stay. Also, I think the Trump administration believes that President Biden misused the parole program entirely. It's there for humanitarian reasons to give, special cases a chance to come in, like for a hurricane or a civil war. President Biden appeared to use it for whole countries, I think without a showing that there's any humanitarian need, just because he wanted to have a faster way to allow people into the country. Now, the harder question you start out with, Martha, is a higher court going to be able to step in fast enough to stop this? This is just another example, as we've seen in other cases challenging Trump's agenda, where district judges spread out all around the country, rather than just decide the facts before them and apply it to the people in their courtroom, they have tried to enjoin and stop the entire government nationwide from pursuing a presidential policy.
Yeah, these policies were originally designed to be person by person, case by case. If you have a right to be here, grant parole. This mass parole, as you point out, does not necessarily hold up. Here's New York Democrat Representative Richie Torres, talking about a related but very different issue. The president suggesting that maybe he might send hardened criminals to this El Salvador prison as well. Watch this.
Without due process, what stops Donald Trump from wrongfully labeling any American as a non-citizen gang member and abducting them in the dead of night and rendering them to a foreign prison to be tortured?
So the suggestion at the White House the other day, John, was that Pam Bondi, the Attorney General, would look into whether or not there was any legal basis to return Americans, to send Americans, I should say, to an out-of-country prison. Your thoughts?
First, I don't know if we need to do that. The United States runs plenty of prisons. There should be plenty of jail space. If there needs to be more, we should build more. But the main point is, wherever you send them, as long as they stay within the control of the United States government, you don't have to have any of these exaggerated worries that you just heard from, I think, unfortunately, from the congressman. American officials are in charge of the prison. They're going to run them according to American standards. American citizens are going to be governed and protected by the Bill of Rights, as they've always had been for more than 200 years. I don't see why this congressman, who can always do something about this if he wants, he can propose legislation, he can have oversight, thinks that this is some great break with our 225-year tradition of protecting the liberty of our citizens.
Well, it's pretty clear that, you know, the images that we saw for so long of people pouring across the border have essentially stopped. I mean, it's the numbers are remarkable to go from 4,000 down to a couple of hundred. So now the president has turned his attention with Attorney General Pam Bondi to addressing some of the people who got in over the 12, 20 million, whatever the number turns out to be. And sending them back to go into the process legally in the future in a whole different way. John Yoo, always good to talk to you. Good to see you. Thank you very much.
Thanks, Martha. Great to see you, too.
Click here to subscribe to the Fox News YouTube page to catch our hottest interviews and most compelling analysis. You won't get it anywhere else.